A week ago, I awoke
Mother?
to find that my mother was missing.
I'm presently on the way to collect my brothers.
Greetings all, another review and another sequel. Enola Holmes, part 2. So how does it stack up? Again, the best of the best, Godfather, number 2, Aliens, Return of the Jedi, all those kind of movies. As we saw previously, Extraction 2 didn't. So how about Enola Holmes? Always liked Sherlock Holmes, and right back to the black and white days, Basil Rathbone, those kind of guys. Elementary, My Dear Watson, always good fun. Adventures. Little bit irritating as a kid because we wanted our heroes to be the best, and Moriarty always seemed to be one step ahead of Sherlock Holmes, but I understand now why that was important, and it was just keeping the drama going, etc. Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, and then Elementary, Johnny Lee Miller. I think they really started to introduce the twists, the modern turns, Lucy Liu and as Dr. Watson, those kind of things, which I think were clever, and I really enjoyed Elementary. So now we've got another one, Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. Interesting, I wasn't sure because of Stranger Things and Enola, but she's actually British, born in Spain, but she's British. So I thought her UK accent, her British accent was very good. She was in the 2 Godzilla movies, and of no relevance to her film career whatsoever. She's engaged to Jake Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi's son. Awesome. And of course this series, Henry Cavill. Can't go wrong with Henry Cavill. So Enola Holmes 1 was planned to be a theatrical release, but COVID put paid to that, so Netflix bought it. 76 million views in the first 4 weeks and top Netflix viewer tables in 93 countries. So they wanted more. It was kind of inevitable. And similarly, there was not very much of Henry Cavill and his brother, Mycroft Holmes, in the first one. So I think that left a lot of people, including me, wanting more. I understand it's about Enola Holmes, and it was better than I expected. It did draw me in. So I didn't mind there wasn't too much of Mycroft and Sherlock, because it's a different movie, but I did enjoy the fact that in the second one we've got a lot more Henry Cavill and working alongside Enola. I enjoyed that a lot. Sometimes Enola reminds me a little bit too much of Miranda when she breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera. But mostly her expressions are enough. When she doesn't talk, she just looks, makes the expression. It's enough, it's comical. So number 2, Enola Holmes number 2, the plot is thick enough to keep us interested with enough twists and turns and convoluted enough without going into Christopher Nolan territory, where I think I number myself amongst many people who just got lost in things like Tenet and honestly couldn't be bothered to figure it out. It just got too confusing. It's detective, and there's enough of it in there. We've got Holmes, we've got Lestrade, we've got Moriarty, again as a woman, following on from the lead in Elementary. But it doesn't overshadow Enola's case, the one that she's pursuing. Helena Bonham Carter, of course, which is never a bad thing, wonderful lady. And we're looking at important political and social events in British history and world history, as they were often political firsts, universal franchise, etc. So carrying on from the first movie talking about universal suffrage and now the rights of women. So good topics. This one, the match girl protests, and my own grandmother died young from died from a lung-related disease, and she worked in a match factory. Never proven one way or the other, as these things are difficult, but that struck a chord with me particularly. Very important to see Tewkesbury grow as a pair, politically as well as physically, and I look forward to him in more episodes now as he's stepping up into being a semi-manly hero, not just a pretty face who loves Enola and knows about plants. So that was enjoyable. The youngsters fall in love and they admit it to each other, and it's all sweet and it's done really well. It's with a sigh. It's very nice. Worthy villains, Clueless, of course, fantastic, especially with his short monologue about wishing he could have been on the stage. But you definitely need convincing villains who are threatening, genuinely threatening, and he pulled that off. He was fantastic, and of course we gets his comeuppance in a way that we really enjoy. Fights are realistic. You can't expect ENOLA, even with all her training, to bludgeon 2 burly police officers very easily, so she gets smacked about. But everything is reasonable. There's nothing too crazy. The stunts are not beyond normal people. Sherlock Holmes, we know, is pretty handy, but you know, even he's struggling with 1 or 2 people, especially an expert martial artist in the film. So, like it, no problem. So one thing that I left hanging, I wanted to know is they're unable to retain the evidence on Lord McIntyre and grab him in the theatre. And Sherlock Holmes warns Tewkesbury off and says patience, and then later McIntyre does get caught and arrested for his corruption, but we don't know why. We know that we know Tewkesbury did it, but we don't know how. Perhaps that's ENOLA Holmes Part 3, I don't know, but just that there's a little bit of a gap in there. So how did he get him? How did he get him? I wanted to know the answer to that. So there are several twists, there are Easter eggs, Dr. Watson turning up at the end in a clever way. All round, really good romping movie. It is, I think, maybe better than the first one. Some people have complained that they thought the action sequences were a little bit cheap and the sets, etc. I didn't notice that. I thought it still looked like period London, although I understand some of it was filmed in Hull. I had no problems with it, enjoyed it, captivated from the beginning to the end, cheering for them. I thought it was really good. So I'd say, yeah, it's a successful sequel, at least as good as the first one, and got me looking forward to the third one. It's of course not as good as the best sequel that there's ever been. Now you're thinking, what would that be? And those of you in the know will have a little grin on your face, because the best sequel ever, officially the best film ever made, is Paddington 2. So it's not quite up to that, but it's great. Highly recommend it, and looking forward to the next one.